This is day 272 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you would like to sponsor upcoming share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It would be very much appreciated. Today we are doing Siman Kuf Pei Ches, Sif Zayin, till Siman Kuf Pei Ches, Sif Tes Vav. Okay, Kuf Pei Ches lasts for a couple more days. So, Shabbos, Omer Kodim Uvnei Ritzei Bach Litzenu. On Shabbos to say before Bnei Yerushalayim, say Litzenu Ritzon Chaniach Lonu B'Chulei Haniach Hahei B'Kamatz V'Nun B'Chirik Haniach V'Lo Hanach Lonu B'Pischin. Don't say Hanach, which would be a request. The Ein Zetfilah, this is not a prayer, Elasipra Dvarim, but rather it is a story. Shakadosh Baruch Hu haniach lanu b'yom haShabbos, shotei tzar b'yagam v'anachah b'yom haShabbos. Hashem left us on Shabbos, a day that will be no anguish and pain and groaning, because there's no avail on Shabbos. Let's go call the Agah b'Shabbos. You shouldn't mention any worries on Shabbos. If you can see, like it says, V'chras Shabbos onik. Shabbos should be a time of pleasure. Mishabur argues. Mishabur says, Ritzon Chaniach is a bakasha. It's interesting because the word haniach is not like hanach, it's not, but it's also not like hiniach. So it's somewhere in the middle. So obviously it could go either way. And Arukh HaShulchan choose go one way with it, which is to say that it's a relating the fact of what Shabbos is, and the Mishmur says it is actually a request. Okay. We say Hashem should show us the consolation of Zion, and that sounds like a request. It's not a request. It is rather, it's like a consolation. Moshe Omrim, like we say, even though Shabbos, we say, may our eyes see that eventual consolation. Moshe V'yontav Rosh Chodesh Amar Yalav Yavo. U'shachar b'Shabbos Mikol Mitzvah B'char Yalav Yavo. Ritzei takes precedence over Yalav Yavo. The Shabbos neged Yontav. Rosh Chodesh have a Torah Mikol. Shabbos is both more frequent and holier than Rosh Chodesh or Yontav. When you're the Amar Mikol Yalav Yavo, B'char Ritzei Ein Tzorich L'Chazor. If you say Yalav Yavo first, you don't have to go back again. Torah Mikol Ein Makir B'Diavad. That Torah is koydem, and that Makudash is koydem, that which is frequent and that which is holy comes first, is not an impediment for the Yevet. K'muchel b'zvachim. Ve'en maskil shel Shabbos b'Yalav Yavo. Don't mention Shabbos in the Yalav Yavo. Filu man esfila the kam on simatah bezayin the betfila b'yonta b'shachris maskil shel Shabbos b'Yalav Yavo. Ayin sham. You're going to pay which you do not paskin like that on Shabbos on Yontav Shachris. We do mention Shabbos in the Yalav Yavo. Zeu mibnei shadayin lo siyim inyan ha-Shabbos. It's because you haven't finished with Shabbos yet. Sharei achagim amar b'asiyenu. The sooner you're going to say b'asiyenu, yachtom shel Shabbos, you're going to end mekadosh shel Shabbos b'sor b'zmanim. Shein brachas hamazon, but by brachas hamazon, where shekvar gomar shel Shabbos, you would say b'chlitzenu, you already finished mentioning Shabbos when you said would say b'chlitzenu, the previous paragraph. Shekein adin b'rosh chodesh chalios b'Shabbos. And this, in fact, is also true about Rosh Chodesh on Shabbos. So Shabbos, Shabbos, the Yalav Yavo. Nobody holds you mention Shabbos and Shabbos in the Yalav Yavo. Shekvar Gomar Shel Shabbos, because you already completed the tefillah of Shabbos. Shezbar B'Simen Tov Chav Hei Ayin Shom. Chenim Mazkirin Shel Yontav Shel Rosh Chodesh B'Ritzei B'Achlitzenu, and vice versa. Don't mention Yontav or Rosh Chodesh and Ritzei B'Achlitzenu. Each one is Ritzei B'Achlitzenu and Yalav Yavo are distinct and separate. Below Korab Zel Zeh. And it's a rather longish brackets here. Listen, B'Yalav Yavo, Ki Kel Melech Chanun Brachum Ata. Though you don't mention Melech, Ela Ki Kel Chanun. That's the word Melech. The God. The time she's by Sif A, the Ein Laskir Malchus Shemaim, Eita Malchus Basa Badam. You don't mention, since we speak about Malchus based David, the Kodesh Baruch Hu should restore that. So we don't mention in the same paragraph, Malchus Hashem, Malchus B'Tzim Adam. Can you say Rama V'Sif Gimel? Shenachon Hu of Enem Yaken Ad Kan L'Shono. He writes that this is appropriate, evidently to leave out the word Melech, but the minhag is to say it. But obviously the Arukh HaShulchan is saying no, we don't have to say it. V'kasvu shekevan shezeh rachok me'eskos beis David le'islam ba. The way the Ramah justifies is by saying that Malchus Beis David is the middle of Yalav Yavo, Kel Melech would be at the end. Babush Levi said, "I shall be a main Rabim Nogim Krama." The Bush does not bring down this to say Melech, and he says many people do say Melech like Ramah. Ayin Taz Meiravam Sifk on the base, and the Arukh HaShulchan obviously is against saying at the end of Yalav Yavo, Ki Kel Melech Hanun Brachumata. I think I say Melech based on my memory, and let's just look at the red line sitter. But 1 second, let's look that up. Yes, the German red line sitter does have Ki Kel Melech as the Psak Ramah, not like the Arukh HaShulchan. Ches, B'Gemara yesh plukta im hizke v'Shabbos v'tzei b'lisenim. The Gemara has a machlokes in hizke v'Shabbos v'tzei b'lisenim v'shar bracha lo b'irchas b'nei Yerushalayim. Mentioned one of the other brachas of Birchas Mosan. Im yotzei labri yotzei or not. Please, Tanakama start with the yotzei. Tanakama holds its works. Chachamim start with lo yotzei does not work. I and jump. B'Ivram Arosh lo use that cloud. They didn't bring this at all. V'chein tov v'shulchan aruch. Why did not bring down this question? Near the halacha Chachamim lo yotzei. Seems that the halacha is like Chachamim and not yotzei. And the Magen Avraham holds like this. But as Mashi's bar, and evidence is that which going to become clarified. That if you forgot Shabbos, didn't say would say a Sarah Hatova Meitiv, Chosarosh gotta go back to being mentioned. We saw that they didn't. But the Eved has crossed the Bnei Yerushalayim. If you're going to say that, but the Eved, if you didn't mention Bnei Yerushalayim, can mention it elsewhere. It's kind of sham. Mention Hatova Meitiv. The Lo Tzricha, Lo Griya has Kara Bifnei Atzma, because it's no difference. No makes no difference. No, it's no worse to say it by itself. It's called bracha acheres. To say it in a different bracha. Not sure exactly what it means by that. Because it is the middle of Tova Meitiv. Oh, that is, I think it counts as bracha acheres, so I'm not sure what he means by that. But you can't say in a different bracha. Maybe that's why the Bali Shulchan Aruch do not bring it down. The Kema should be Rodin Shachach, since they talk about what happens if you forget it. Lo Tzul Askir Gam, they didn't have to mention that with another bracha you're not Yotzei. Test. Mikar brachas amasan imiktim bracha mucheres. What happens if you mix around the brachas and benching all together? Go chikdim brachas aretz, brachas hasan, or ben Yerushalayim kodim brachas aretz. Yesh is topic yotzei lo yotzei. Mixed up the order, and it's not clear if yotzei or not. But nearly the yotzei. The Arukh HaShulchan says, I think you are yotzei. The Raya, the Reish Berach base Megillah tonight. Hakoyim mafreya lo yotzei. It says there, and by Megillah, we read it out of order, not yotzei. V'tani brayse v'chein b'halo, b'kriyah shema v'tfilah. It says that's true about halo. B'kriyah shema v'tfilah and shom. Lo chashikam because hamazon. Well, because hamazon is not enumerated there. Shema min of the decision lo makir because hamazon. So it seems to indicate that the order is not an impediment because hamazon. For Raya, also further evidence of a brachas yafin and say the brachas hamazon. We call the beirachta ze birchas hasan. Es Hashem elokecha zo birchas hazimun. It says that birchas hamazon learned from beirachta. I'm sorry, beirachta is birchas hazon, which is really the second bracha. If you count birchas hazimun, so Hashem elokecha zo birchas hazimun, which is really the first bracha. But zimun kodem lazon, and this is out of order in the pasuk itself. Elvadi deina seder makib, cute raya. Therefore, the order was not an impediment. Therefore, if you said hazon before the zimun, after the zimun, body couldn't even know the zimun is supposed to be first. This comes to tell us the horosh ein haseder ma'akev that the order is not an impediment. He says ken yirel and he was daiti. Yud tov lo is kirshul Shabbos such as in bnei Yerushalayim lo pasad daim birchas hatova meitiv. If you already said bnei brachma Yerushalayim amen, but you didn't start saying the next bracha. Omer, you can insert here a separate bracha. Bruchat Hashem Elokeinu Melech Olam. Shenasan Shabbosos L'Menucha L'Am Yisrael B'Avo, who gave Shabbos to his nation Israel with love, l'os for a sign, ubris and a covenant. Bruchat Hashem Mekadosh Shabbos. Echem Paskot Yerushalayim Sivav. Echem Asher Divir Ramos. So per base. Shekas Hashem Lo Yizkir B'Shabbos or Yotav Dushas Hayom. If you forgot, then say would say Yalav Yovel. Niska Kodim she asked a bracha because if you remember before you start the fourth bracha, b'Shabbos when Baruch Hashem Asher Nasam Chulei Baruch Chulei Akal Shana B'Avshul is Kilo Kedim Melech Haolam. Even though it doesn't mention you have to say Kedim Melech Haolam, come also Kain came with Jesus Kir Hashem. But since you says Hashem, so therefore you also have to say Kedim Melech Haolam. Otherwise, it's not a proper bracha. V'nei B'Gemara Isa Tov Lo Yitzchak Shabbos Omer Baruch Shenasan Shabbos Chulei Ayin Sham. Well, maybe we can say it's our Shem Malchus altogether. Such a thing. Because it's not one of the formally established brachas. Do me this, in other words, you don't normally say it unless you forgot. It's like so in this case, this respect, it's like Zimun. Even though we learn a pasuk, ain't below Shem lo Malchus. Nevertheless, it doesn't have the Shem Hashem because it's saying a kvur, because it's not a set and prevalent bracha. The Kshe'ain Shan Kan Shlosha Shachlu, because when there are three people together, ain't Tzarech Zima, don't require Zima. Abraham Matush and also the below Shem Malchus ain't a klur. But other places come out, if you don't know Shem Malchus, it's nothing. Vainly Shol. Now, of course, comes the obvious question. Don't ask. But Rabbi Ikar would say about saying ain't got Shem Malchus. When you say it the way you're supposed to say it, that's what people would say about it. Say, no, there's no Shem Malchus. It does become an additional bracha. And how then, when you forget it, when you're down a level, there's going to be your Shem Malchus. The ain't okay. It's not like this. The B'tzei say yes Shem Malchus. The B'tzei say it does have a Shem Malchus. Came and she clue B'nai B'Rishon because it's part of a larger bracha. And the Shem Malchus think care of bracha smuch l'chaverta. Shaks was the previous brachas. Birchas Haaretz and Birchas Haaretz smuch l'Hazon. V'Hazon yes Shem Malchus. They're all juxtaposed to Hazon, which starts with the Shem Malchus. V'Havakilu Gam B'nai B'Rishon with Shem Malchus. That makes as if B'nai B'Rishon has its own Shem Malchus because the bracha smuch l'chaverta. V'Gam Chosem is the Baruch. It also signs over the Baruch. So the pshat is like this. When you forgot it, you didn't have, when you say it, you have the Shem Malchus, which happens to carry over from the rest of the bracha. When you forgot it, so then you have to say its own Shem Malchus, because there's no carryover. You needed a bracha instead. So the Gam Shem Malchus requires Shem Malchus of its own, but Gam Chosem is a Baruch. It also signs over the Baruch. Even though it's a short bracha, came in Shabbat Makam Bracha Arucha because it's coming in lieu of the longer bracha, which is the Ritzei or Yalav Yovel. You don't know it, and you don't have a bencher handy. Sometimes you have a bencher handy which has that nusach, or you can take out a Mishnah Berurah or Arukh HaShulchan and then you can say it. But if you don't know it, then you have to go back to the beginning regardless. What does Mishnah Berurah say here? It says if you know the beginning and end, let's say no, that means Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Shenasan Shabbos L'Menucha, and then you know it's supposed to end Mekadosh Shabbos. The fact that you don't remember the middle, Lamo Yisrael Ba'aval Osu Bris, you can still do it that way. The Biur Halacha writes that. He writes that, interestingly enough, he's not sure about this, but if you don't know the nusach, perhaps better than going back to the beginning is to say Ritzei. Just Ritzei itself at that point, between B'nai Barachman B'Shlamein and Hatov HaMeitiv. But I don't think that we hold that way. The Maisa, and he also was not sure about it. Yud Beis, Chem B'Yoti B'Tov Lo Yizkir Yalav Yovel, happens the Yoti forgot to say Yalav Yovel. So in that case, Omer Baruch Atah v'chulei, similar idea. Ashenas Yom Tov L'Am Yisrael L'Soson L'Simcha. He gave a good days to his nation for the joy and happiness. It's Yom Chag Ploni Hazeh. This day, this holiday, which I name it. Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadosh Shel Bazmanim. He say Chasima. B'Yom Yom B'Shabbos. Then you Yom B'Shabbos come together. You both would say Yalav Yovel. You make a more elaborate bracha. Omer Baruch Chulei Asher Nasan Shabbos L'Menucha. Lamo Yisrael Ba'ava La'os Bris V'Yomim Tovim L'Sasa L'Simcha Yom Chag Ploni Hazeh brucha to Hashem Mekadosh HaShabbos v'Yisrael b'Azmanim. Okay, quite elaborate. That's obviously, well, I know it's obvious. Mishabur says if you only forgot one, let's say you said with say Yalav Yavo, then you only say the appropriate part for Yalav Yavo, and you don't automatically say both. Okay, you give him a chazak. Shu niskar kom shizchel birchas tov meitim. It's only if you remember before he began the next bracha. Avachash yisrael tov meitim. Once he began the next bracha, ain't no more bracha. Zu this bracha is not effective. So echlasol rosh birchas hamazon. You have to go beginning birchas hamazon. She birchas hazon. V'lo sagi shachzor birchas bnei Yerushalayim. Can't just go back to bnei Yerushalayim. V'shkol shosh brachos. Now shavas kachas, because all the first three brachos are considered one unit. Come betfila, just like by davening, shosh rishos koshiv kachas. That all three of the first brachos are considered one unit. L'chein pasuk aram mishram. L'chein afagad to be Yalav Yavo the tefillah b'rosh chodesh. K'shor l'omar tachnim achat tefillah. So chozer would say, even though if you get Yalav Yavo on Rosh Chodesh, and even if you're kind of sore, as long as you haven't uprooted your legs, you can go back to Ritzei. V'lo should feel at the beginning of davening, which I'm siman tav chol beis. You can't hachanami lo gar birchas tov meitiv. So why don't you say here that birchas meitiv tov meitiv is no worse? Even though you already began it, it's still worse than the tachnunim of Elkai Tzor at the end of Shemona Esrei. And besides, we add a Rachman also, the Avik Tachnunim, which is just like Elkai Tzor. Vayolo lachzor rak l'tchios birchas b'nei Yerushalayim. So you should only go back to the beginning of b'nei Yerushalayim. V'emes das arrive at Shom Keinu, why in Shom? And that's it. The opinion of the Raiva is the fact you only go back to Rachem. Come on and lo kaimal came, but we don't hold this way. We hold the kol shosh brachos. All three brachos are like one. Then you have second terms of interruption. And therefore you must go back to the beginning of Birkas Hamazon. Yudal. So our Shulchan has big question. Since the Shas links makes parallel between Birchas Hamazon and davening, Kain Kamobi Yalav Yavo the Betfila. So just like Yalav Yavo and davening, Sheniska Kodem Modim. When you remember before Modim, Omer Yalav Yavo Kodem Modim. You say Yalav Yavo before Modim. So to Yontif Sheniska Kodem Matova Meitiv Lama Kavu Baruch Acheres. Why they make another bracha? Evidently, just Yalav, you say after Matzah Shos Tzion. If you remember, then say Yalav Yavo. You say Yalav Yavo there without going back to it. Say just Yalav Yavo. So also over here between the Yerushalayim and Tova Meiti. If you remember, then you should say Yalav Yavo to add a separate bracha. Yom Hashem Yalav Yavo come with Tefillah. B'chem Shabbos Yom Hashem Matzeh B'achli Tzenu. Say it without an answer bracha. So it says Arukh HaShulchan nearly b'tam davar. The Bate ain't a tikkun yofer l'mar Hashem Yalav Yavo Ritzei V'Litzenu. It's not good. It's not a good fix to say Yalav Yavo Ritzei V'Litzenu. Shinu B'nei Yerushalayim Tova Meitiv. Shari Nitkanu V'soch HaBracha because they're supposed to be inside a bracha. But V'havi Shemu Malchus and they're supposed to have Shem Malchus. K'mosh Kustavnu. U'achar bracha ain't Shem Malchus, and if it's after the termination of the bracha, there's no Shem Malchus going in. Chentiknu bracha b'Shem Malchus could be ikar there. That's how they made a new bracha b'Shem Malchus as is the proper halacha. But by tefillah they can't do that. They can't use shalosh achronos our brachas because you can't add to the brachas in Shemona Esrei. There will be then 4 brachas in the last 3. Lo tiknu kim shalosh brachas and the takon is only 3 brachas. Therefore they suffice. B'mashu amar yomar Yalav Yavo teich v'achar bracha. Sufficient to say Yalav Yavo immediately after the bracha. V'avikil amar torah bracha. It's to be said within the bracha. Kem shan lo iska bracha. Acheres you didn't yet start the next bracha. Our Birchas Hamazon lo nirek tosefes, but by Birchas Hamazon it does not look like like it's added on to the previous bracha. Sharei kfar gamar bracha shel Torah v'ini acheru. He's on to another thing. He's not in the Shemona Esrei. He's on, which is all one continuity. He's on to the lower level, so to speak, of Tova Meitiv. Further, you could say the Birchas Hamazon the Raisa Ksiba Birchas Hamazon the Raisa Ksiba Beirachta Hashem Elokecha. It says you have to bless the Kosh Baruch Chosh Lamina Davar Kitikuna. They were concerned that the dafka should be with a bracha. Lo Chosh Lo Chashash Baruch B'Torah, not considered bracha B'Torah. This all will be included in Birchas Hashem Elokecha. Gamzu bracha. This is also bracha. Mashkim b'tefillah the rabbanon, but tefillah which the rabbanon wanted to receive bracha. They didn't want to add another bracha. Choshlu bracha batal. They were considered might be considered bracha batal, but tiknu shemena achar bracha. That's they said you can say it after the bracha, between the brachas. The machzor shon stone and modim you can say yalav yavo. Tezva. Zeh Shabbos yom tov mishesh chova lechol pasa is kosem chova. At time Shabbos Yom when you have to eat bread, and therefore mentioning with saying yalav yavo are mandatory. Rosh Chodesh Chol Shemoed. Abli Shos Le'Isals B'Hem Rosh Chodesh Chol Shemoed. Even though you're not allowed to fast them, come make chova lechol pas. Dafka you don't have to specifically eat bread. Therefore yalav yavo and a yalav yavo would be it's not mandatory. Lachem shogeg lamar b'im yalav yavo berachas mazon. Therefore, you forgot to say yalav yavo then berachas mazon. Lo nizkar achad shirchis tov ha'meitiv. You don't remember until after you began a tov ha'meitiv. Ein ochos akay. Don't go back at all. Below diamond tefillah shechos aside tefillah. You do go back. The tefillah avichoy because tefillah is mandatory, and therefore, if you got yalav yavo, you have to go back. Hashem about skor berachas mazon. Shein ochov gomer as opposed to berachas mazon, which is not a mandatory. You don't have to eat bread. Right? Hasharei yochel liftar asat small music could exempt himself from eating, from mentioning altogether. The boy lo achel pas, he didn't have to eat bread. That's some birchas hamazon chayva. So therefore, even though the birchas hamazon itself is mandatory, so to eat bread. Nevertheless, haskora lav chayva, the mentioning of the day, is not mandatory. By Mishlam, Siman Tov Kaftes, Seif Gimel.